What's up, weirdo? Shadetree Surgeon here, and I am drenched in sweat even though I haven't turned a single wrench. Y'all just missed what would have been the most hilarious part, for you anyway, of this video, which was me trying to get the mail order glide on that lift, which had to have been better than watching the funny papers, but I didn't record it because even I have some pride, although I'm still not sure that it's not gonna come tumbling off of there. Holy crap. It's not the easiest thing to put a Goldwing on a lift. And let me tell you, if you don't have one of those carpet drying fans, it's an awesome investment, not only to cool down your garage, but when you ride a motorcycle right before you work on it, literally stick one of those right underneath the engine, pointing right at it for, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, and it is cool enough to work on. I'm gonna let that cool down, get a drink of water, cool myself down, and cross my fingers that I don't knock my 1989 Goldwing GL1500 off the lift while I'm changing the timing belts. So give myself time to cool off and eat lunch, and the engine doesn't feel quite cooled off yet. And having done a little bit of research, which I previously didn't do, I'm going into this blind, having just reading a manual online, haven't read it before, it does say that the engine needs to be completely cool. So I might just go ahead and just remove all the bodywork today and go ahead and tackle the timing belts tomorrow. I'll see how cool it gets by the time I get the bodywork off. Also, look at me, for someone who's never done this job before, I'm just being like hella optimistic, thinking I can even get the bodywork off today before I lose my temper and rage quit. As always, I am not using a manual, I'm not using a YouTube video, I'm using Goldwing docs. Everything I've ever done to any Goldwing I've ever owned, this one and my 1200, I've done straight from there. It's usually detailed to the point of ad nauseum, so big thanks to whoever writes these things, because you are better men than me. When removing this front chin spoiler right here, or radiator guard, or whatever it is, that middle bolt tends to be really hard to get to right here. So last time I took it off, I just left it out. Way easier when you've only got these outside two to deal with. Hey, look at that. I hate it when things on a Goldwing are held on by grommets. This plastic gets so old. Everyone bitches about there being a whole bunch of screws, but I'd much rather a screw than one of these things, because these things are just so prone to breaking. Even though this did come off without breaking. Oh man, this thing might only have 50,000 miles on it, but it's led a hard life. I love how these decorative trim pieces already have like these gouges cut out in them, so you can so you can use a flathead instead of an Allen. So somebody's already taken them out badly. And I'm gonna try an Allen before I try a flathead, but yeah, something tells me, oh, well, hey, look. Don't you love it when everything on the motorcycle is so crappy and loose that it just comes right off? Makes life a lot easier, doesn't it? Yeah, as I said before, I think that the GL1500 is a vastly superior motorcycle, but my GL1500 is not a superior motorcycle to my 1200. My 1200 is in way better shape than my 1500 is. Of course, I paid $2 grand for a 1200 and only 1500 for this 1500. Next up, I gotta drain the coolant. I always like to check, is it still hot? No, okay, no, it's not hot. The last thing you want to do is like spray boiling hot coolant all over your hands. Goldwing Docs says while I'm waiting for this, I should pull the spark plugs. Those Goldwing Docs guys are pretty smart, so I'm gonna go ahead and listen to them. Pretty smart. Smarter than me, at least. And if I didn't spray out these holes or pull the spark plugs, something tells me Shelby would be very upset with me. Well, this spark plug was literally finger tight. That doesn't seem like a good sign. Yikes. Glad I'm getting in here. Literally finger tight. The other one's also finger tight. Let's see. Who was in here last? Looks like they're literally all finger tight. Holy crap. I mean, I know spark plugs aren't supposed to be cranked down like crazy, but finger tight seems a little ridiculous. All 3 spark plugs, finger tight. That's freaking wild. Okay, seems kind of odd that only the spark plugs on the left-hand side of the bike would be loose. All 3 on the right-hand side of the bike were the normal amount of tightness. Definitely kind of concerning, but definitely not the weirdest thing I've found on this motorcycle so far, and probably not the weirdest thing I'm gonna find before this job is all said and done. It's also worth noting that I had to use the spark plug socket out of the toolkit. These are kind of an odd size, and I couldn't get anything else to fit inside there, the little holes that they're in. So if you don't have a toolkit with your GL1500, you might be in trouble. Okay, the next thing the boys at Goldwing Docs got me doing is pulling off this radiator hose. This bottom one's pretty corroded, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a little bit of PB Blaster. Once again, just a little bit of weirdness. The Goldwing doc showed me having 2 more hoses to remove on the water pump, but yeah, I know there's a few small differences between the early Goldwings. This is an 89, so this is a second year Goldwing, and some of the later ones in the 90s. So I'm imagining that must be one of them, because I don't see anything else that will be in the way of me taking the timing cover off or the timing belt cover off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and move this giant tub of coolant before I absolutely 100% drop a bolt in it. Now, it said this was in 2 pieces. I wonder if this is another like 89 and 90s difference, because this really looks like it's in 1 piece to me. I guess we'll see when I start pulling everything off. This is definitely 1 piece. Oh wait, no, it's not. This side is just 1 big piece. Okay. It also said that middle piece had to come off, but I'm gonna try to take it off with it on there because I think I'm smarter than those guys, and they were right. This has got to come off. I think they're gonna tell you to take it off when you don't need to. Well, actually, maybe, because like freaking Goldwing guys sometimes tell you to take off some crap that really don't need to come off the bike sometimes. But they weren't lying about this one. It's got to come off. To be totally honest with you, I wouldn't really know how to tell if these belts had wear on them or not. I mean, they look fine. Looking fine and being fine, I guess, are 2 different things. As everybody says with these Goldwings, changing these timing belts is cheap insurance. It's like somebody's been in here before. There's writing in there, so maybe I'm just taking out some insurance I don't really even need, because it says done in here, but I don't know what done means. I'm gonna just go ahead and take out the insurance policy. They definitely, there's marks on these, so these have been done before, but when? There's no date. You didn't leave me a date. If you left me a date, I might just throw this sucker back together. There's no date though. So these timing belts may have been done before. Somebody's obviously been in here. You've got the word done written right there, and there's Sharpie on these things. Like, somebody's been in here for some reason. Just the problem is I don't know when it happened. I'd love to not have to do this. I'd love to just go like, oh my gosh, the timing belts are done, everything's good, but that just doesn't sit right with me, especially not when I'm gonna be riding this thing 1,300 miles straight to Texas. I'm just gonna go ahead and do them anyway, and I'm gonna do the right thing, and on the off chance that this Goldwing ever belongs to anybody else besides me in the next 10 years, or its life in general, if it lives another 10 years, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a note on the inside of the timing belt cover that these were done in April of 2021. Unfortunately, if those timing belts were changed, I have no idea if they were done in 1995 or 2005 or 2015 or what. That's also where I'm going to go ahead and leave it for today at least. I might finish it in this video still. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen or exactly what my plans are, because I never do. We might be at the Renfest in 5 minutes, or we might be at a bar in 5 minutes, or we might, I never know what's going to happen during my videos. If you think I know what's going to happen, you're thinking wrong. But this is where I'm going to leave it, because all the how-tos were very, very freaking specific in that this engine needs to be completely cold, completely room temperature, and it's still pretty warm. So I'm just going to go ahead and do what they said and wait till tomorrow. You might be asking yourself, why they keep Raspberry Buffet when I have the mail order Glide? What man needs 2 Goldwings? There's only one way to answer the question of why does Shadetree Surgeon need 2 Goldwings? And the first part of that is, how dare you? And the second part of that is, obviously I need 2. A dragon needs 2 wings to fly, baby! Woo! Raspberry Buffet, ramming speed. God, I still love this bike. As I've said before, the Raspberry Buffet is in better shape than the mail order Glide, even though the 1500 is a better bike. Went ahead and left it there because it was still warm, and I'm gonna go ahead and follow the rules on this one. But as of everything I've saw so far, the timing belt looks like it's gonna be a pretty easy job. I know that's a big worry with these bikes with Goldwings, the GL1200s and 1500s, is everyone's going like, oh my God, you gotta do the timing belts. It's cheap insurance. Do the timing belts. And to be honest, I was kind of dreading it. I wasn't looking forward to it. I was just in my head going like, this is going to be a pain in the ass. Of course, it's not done yet, but it's really looking like it's going to be really, really easy. Of course, looking really easy and then putting it back together and having it run properly
those are two different things. So far, I will say it seems like, to me at least, I've worked on the GL1200 and I've worked on the GL1500, the 6-cylinder. It seems like the 6-cylinder is way easier to work on than the 1200 4-cylinder. I don't know if maybe they just engineered it so it was easier to get to stuff, but everything I've done to my GL1500 has been just miles easier than I've done to the GL1200. And there's only 2 years difference in those bikes. This is an 87, my GL1500 is an 89. It's one of those things where you look at the pictures and everything looks hard, but then once you start doing it, it's just really, really easy. And on the pictures of the GL1200, everything looks hard, and then when you start doing it, it's even harder. Besides ease of working on it, the one place where the GL1500 just absolutely destroys the 1200 is in comfort, especially if you're a little bit taller. Like if you're 6 foot and up, I'm 6'1". If you're 6 foot and up, you want to get the 1500. You will actually be kind of cramped on the GL 1200. Like my knees, if I brake really hard, my knees will slam directly into the dash here. You don't have a whole lot of room on this thing. And not only if you're taller, but also if you're shorter. This is a way taller bike than the GL 1500. I've had people who are 5'2" and 5'3" on the GL 1500, the 6-cylinder, and they could flat-foot it and pick it up no problem. And they could not do the same thing on this bike. So overall, ergonomically, whether you're shorter or tall, whatever, like the GL 1500 is just it's just a better bike. To be totally honest with you, besides maybe price, because you could get one of these cheaper, I cannot see any real advantages to the GL 1200 over the GL 1500. The 6-cylinder just trounces this bike in every single way, but I still love the Raspberry Buffet. And as I said, the Raspberry Buffet is a damn sight, even though it's got more miles on it. Somebody obviously took way better care of this motorcycle than they did that 1500. Headed to the homestead now, and we'll be back at the GL 1500, the mail order Glide, the incredible Bulk, the green Goldwing of love. We'll be back at it another day. Okay, up here at the shop, gotta unload the dirt bikes from the back of the F350 over here because we're going to pick up Ken Dean's bike. We got Shop Goblin up here helping us out. Last time she was down, the Goldwing was broken and she had to fix it, and she just flew in again, and guess what's sitting on the lift not running? I'm starting to sense a trend here. So before we jump back into the timing belts on the Goldwing, I am going to go pick up my buddy Ken Dean's motorcycle, which broke down, and I'm going to try to help him out with that. I know a lot of you guys had seen previously that we tried to rebuild a motorcycle for Ken Dean, and a lot of people have asked what happened to that. I've answered that quite a few times, but what happened to that motorcycle is it was not rebuildable. Not by me, anyway. It ended up the guy who had previously worked on it really messed a lot of stuff on the motorcycle up. That's in the past. My buddy Ken has a new motorcycle now. Well, new to him. It's a 70s Suzuki GS, but it does need the carbs to be rebuilt, so I think Shelby's going to handle that for him. 70s and 80s Japanese motorcycles, that's the theme of the day, and if I'm going to teach Shop Goblin how to be frustrated properly, it's definitely going to be making old Japanese motorcycles run. If you start off working on a Goldwing, if you cut your teeth learning how to work on bikes on a Goldwing, everything's cake from there, baby. For everyone asking, when are we gonna go out and ride dirt bikes again? Yes, that is coming. I had to unload the dirt bikes from the back of the truck in order to go pick up Ken's bike. Dirt bikes are coming back. We're just trying to carve out the time for it, but it is something I do want to carve out time for because I love it. Back at it on the Goldwing with Shop Goblin helping me here, and you're in charge of changing these timing belts now.
Oh, fuck no. What? Are you kidding
I just
me?
explained to her how an interference 4-stroke engine works, and now she's very excited. Right now I'm rotating the entire engine.
Wait. But I just knew where the line was. The line is now gone. Now I have the anxiety. So.
Does that look right? Do we have everything rotated and set up properly? Read all that and tell me if I did it right. I'm just gonna trust you. All right,
you're on this part. Yeah. You literally just did that.
Yeah. But is it rotated into the correct section?
Look for the 1.2 TF mark on the pulley as shown. Yes.
Is that perfectly lined up with that arrow? Better be perfect. It can't even be a little bit off.
Well, it's probably on it, but...
No.
To be perfect?
Shop Goblin.
Actually, it might be.
Cool. Trust you. Let's go ahead and do it.
I mean, you're the one who did it. I didn't touch the thing.
I'm just asking you if it's perfect. I'm not even going to recheck it. It's all in your hands now. I'm just kidding. I'm checking.
Thank you.
Now that you have told me that this is... Whoa! Now that you've illuminated me to the fact that this is perfect. Okay, this looks like a big old mess, but I think we can do it. So first things first, we have to loosen these adjusters. And I'm on the wrong side. I should probably do the other side first. Goldwing Docs is telling me that these tensioners right here, the bolts just need to be loosened. They don't need to be taken off. Literally just a half a turn once they're broken free. Son of a bitch. Come on, you. A long enough lever and a place to put it, a man could move the world.
Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. Said by Archimedes.
Oh, this is Archimedes. Man, look at me going with Archimedes anyway. So this is all about leverage. So if you just make this longer.
It's not even my dragon.
There we go. Now it's broken loose. Leverage, baby. So now I can move that. See how it can go up now?
Yeah.
I can take this belt off. If any one of these moves even a little bit, we're screwed.
Why?
Because I'll never get them back right. So, oh!
Damn it! You fucking got me that time, you motherfucker!
Man, there's all these wires. I wonder if I'm gonna be able to figure out where they all go back in.
I think it was just one peg over too much.
Wait, did this move too, or is that still right in the middle? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But the music's not helping, really.
Turn it up. Maybe it'll help if it's louder. I don't know if it's helping.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, I'm just a tooth off. And you can install it a tooth off, it'll just run like shit. Because what happens is once you start applying tension to it, right? That's when it moves, so.
Now it's in place, though. It moved up just in place.
Yes, okay, good. You're so smart. Well, see? What would I have done without you?
Would it take you a little while to figure that out, maybe?
Hopefully that's right.
I mean...
Only one way to find out! Okay, quick intermission for me to drop the shop goblin off at an escape room that she was doing with some friends. Now, I did say that I would pick her up on the incredible bulk, so now it's a race against time. The shop goblin and her friends in the escape room versus can I actually make this thing run again? So let's get back after it. The spark plugs all look fine, but since I was in here, I went ahead and got new ones anyway. Don't really know why they were all loose on this side, but the bike was previously running, so... Okay, it's the next day. I ended up having to pick up the shop goblin on Raspberry Buffet. Not that she really cared, but that's because I went to go start the incredible bulk, the mail order glide, and it wasn't running right. And let me tell you, when you're me, and you know how bad you suck at everything, and you just replace the timing belts, the most sensitive part of this bike, and then you start it and it doesn't run right, you have a little bit of a heart attack. I had to go pick her up, so I rushed out of here, and I wasn't able to come back to it today. Luckily, it ended up being my own stupid error, just it wasn't a very stupid serious error. So I did put the timing belt in right. That's all good. What I did wrong was I switched up a couple of the spark plug wires when I put it back together. So I could tell that it was missing a cylinder. I just had my fingers crossed that it wasn't missing the cylinder because I put the timing belt wrong and it just smashed a piston into the valves. I was hoping I had just messed something up with the spark plugs. That was the case. Switch the spark plug wires back. The bike runs fine now. Hey, if I'm gonna give myself a heart attack, at least it was over something that was actually just a dumb mistake. And sometimes I don't panic that much because when something's wrong, I just go, hey, I make dumb mistakes constantly. So it's more than likely just gonna be some stupid thing I didn't do.
I ain't gonna lie to you boys. I thought I beefed that one up big time. I thought your old boy Shadetree beefed it on the Goldwing, man. I was sweating bullets. I can't believe. Let me tell you, timing belts and you turn the thing back on and it doesn't run right. I was sweating. Mostly because I'm completely honest with you guys. I would have, if I had messed this up and I had put the timing belt back on wrong and totally destroyed the engine, I would have told you. I would not have tried to hide it. And so I was just like over the night coming to terms with that, going like, boy, you messed up big time. Shadetree, you really stepped in it, didn't you? You're going to have to tell the entirety of the internet, everybody who watches you, that you took this simple job that you were already posted on Instagram being like, this was so easy. This was so easy, easier than I thought it was going to be. And then you just absolutely nerfed it. You beefed it. You messed up the engine. You did it wrong. You freaking moron. I was fully prepared to do that and own up to it. But I will tell you, I really didn't want to. Not only because I really like this bike, but also because, like, come on, man. I should be able to do this. Yes, it runs perfectly fine right now. All I did was switch up the spark plug wires, which is like a typical, I'm not paying attention and shooting from the hip and just throwing everything back together, shadetree surgeon move. I do crap like that all the time. I always assume that everybody watching already knows more than me, but if you want to know how I found that out, it's pretty simple. I feel almost silly, a little silly explaining it because it's so simple. But if you've gone like, hey, this engine is missing a cylinder, and that's what I kind of ascertained, like, hey, it's one of the cylinders is not firing, possibly two. I don't know how smooth these 6 cylinders run. Maybe they can drop 2 cylinders and still be okay. When that happens, I just pulled the side plastic off, started the engine, and put a fast idle on the choke, so I had a little bit of speed going there, and I started pulling off spark plug boots using a pair of insulated needle nose pliers, because trust me, you don't want to get shocked. And the first one I pulled off, the engine started running worse. I put it back on. The second one I pulled off, nothing changed. From there, I can say, hey, this cylinder isn't firing. So I switched it with another cylinder that was next to it because the other cylinder on that bank was running just fine, and voila! Runs like a top, baby. So now that I have actually successfully completed this timing belt job, I will tell you, it was really easy, besides sweating for 24 hours because I had to leave the bike there and I didn't know what was wrong with it. It was a really just a fantastically easy job. I never knew how to do this. I had no clue how to do this. I hadn't watched any videos. I hadn't done any research. I just did enough research to know which timing belts to order and what other that I needed a coolant, and that was it. And I literally learned how to do it as I was reading the article. Now, I don't do that because I'm lazy. I do that because I want to show you that, like, hey, I don't have the most mechanical ability. Like, dipshit over here switched up 2 of the spark plug wires, man. I'm not super great at this stuff, but I was able to sit down on the forums and I did this. If I wasn't filming, I could have had this done in probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours if I was really trying hard. It was not a hard job. Nothing about it was difficult. Nothing about it was really confusing. All the plastic parts come off really easily. All the engine parts come off really easily. Like, I don't know, more and more, the more time I spend on the GL1500, the Goldwing, the 6-cylinder, the first model, the 6-cylinder, the more I'm impressed with this motorcycle. Not just because it's comfortable and it's fast and it's nice and it actually handles kind of well for how incredibly large it is. I'm more impressed just how easy the maintenance is on this motorcycle. I know that's people's biggest fear. It's the biggest fear. They go like, oh, I would get a Goldwing, but what if I have to work on it? No, I haven't run into a single snag yet that wasn't of my own stupid doing, that I freaking I biffed it. I hit a mulligan because I'm dumb, not the bike. So, I mean, literally, just this, everything's easy to access, but taking off the bags is kind of hard. That was a little more complicated than I wanted it to be, but that's not the Goldwing's fault. That's whoever owned a mail order glide previously just absolutely adorned it with chrome all over, which I do like, but when you got a bunch of chrome accessories, there's just like a little more stuff to take off. I will say it right now, this motorcycle is just really ridiculously easy to work on. This is a very user-friendly motorcycle when it comes to maintenance. Believe it or not, one of the most user-friendly motorcycles as far as maintenance is concerned that I've ever owned outside of a dirt bike. So that's the big scare out of the way. That's the one that everybody freaks out about. A Goldwing, gotta do the timing belts, gotta do the timing belts, get a Goldwing, gotta do the timing belts. Never know when they were changed. Could have been 20 years ago. That could have. That's what everybody says. I can't tell you how many people I've heard say like, oh, I would buy a Goldwing, but I know as soon soon as I get it, I got to change the timing belts, and it's going to cost money, and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to have to deal with it. Well, I just did it, and even if I didn't have a lift, it wouldn't have been that hard. I could have done that sitting on my back, laying on my back, or sitting on an ass. No freaking problem at all. Would have made it harder, but I could have done it pretty easily. And like I said, an afternoon's worth of work. You could do this on a weekday after you got off from work easily. And I'm not a whiz mechanic, man. I'm not a professional. Half the time I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I said, I was just reading through a freaking article I found on Google search, and I did it. So trust me, if I can do it, if this dipshit can do it, you can do it. All right, let's get out of here before I get freaking rear-ended. Man, I swear to God. Let's take the entirety of Tampa and put it down to one lane. What a great idea. Anyway, that's going to about do it for this episode. Like I said, if you're not familiar with this bike, I paid $1,500, $1 per cc for this motorcycle. $1,500 for a 1989 Goldwing, 49,000 miles. That's what it says. Anyway, I paid $1,500 for this bike, and I've just been kind of documenting how easy it is to maintain it, whether it's worth the money. I mean, $1,500 for a running motorcycle, especially one like this, it's kind of hard to go wrong. But the big question is can you maintain it? Can you do all this stuff to it yourself and not have to dump a bunch of money into the bike? So far, nothing's been a problem. The next big purchase I'm going to have to make is tires. That's going to be kind of expensive. Other than that, I've done everything myself, and it's been just so freaking easy. It's not even funny. The big test is going to be driving at 1,300 miles straight through without stopping to Texas, to Dallas, Fort Worth, to the Get On Moto Fest. If you aren't familiar with the Get On Moto Fest, look it up. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to attempt to ride the mail order glide there. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.